It had been almost 8 years since I'd last seen D'Angelo in person. By then, I'd left the music scene behind, burned out, half-deaf, from years of studio life, and carrying too many secrets buried under layers of static and silence. Then, one night, my phone buzzed with a message that shouldn't have been possible. It was a voice note from D'Angelo. "Come to the old studio, bro. One last session. I need someone to hear this." No greeting. No context. Just that voice, raspy, desperate, trembling like it was dragged across glass. I stared at my phone for an hour before I finally went. The studio he meant was Holotone, a forgotten place off Route 9, where we used to record in the early 2000s. It had been closed for years after a fire, gutted half the equipment. But when I got there that night, the neon sign was on Holotone Studios open. The O flickered in and out like it was breathing. Inside, the air was stale and wet. The hall smelled of dust, old wires, and rain seeping through cracks. I could still remember the layout by muscle memory: the control room to the left, the booth straight ahead, and then, from behind the glass, a figure. He looked thinner, paler. His once famous glow, velvet smooth charm was gone. His eyes were sunken, his hands twitching like they were keeping time to music only he could hear. "Yo, Marcus," he said, his voice dry. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You came." I didn't know what to say. It had been years. And seeing him there alone in that burned-out studio felt wrong. Like seeing a ghost still trying to sing. "I got something," he said. "Something they told me to finish," I asked. He looked toward the booth window, where the reflection of the dim lights shimmered like water. "Them," he whispered. "The ones behind the sound." I thought it was metaphorical. D'Angelo always spoke like that, mystic, poetic, a little eccentric. But that night, there was no rhythm to it. His words were flat, cold, certain. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small cassette tape, wrapped in faded masking tape. Written in red ink, the final song. "I recorded this last week," he said. "But I didn't record it, you know. I was just there, and it happened." He handed it to me, his fingers trembling. When I touched it, I swear I felt something vibrate inside the tape, like a low pulse, almost alive. "I can't listen to it anymore," he whispered. "Not alone." So we set it up. The old reel-to-reel deck still worked somehow. The machine groaned as it came to life, the magnetic tape whining softly. "Before we start," he said, "I gotta confess something." He leaned closer, his breath shaky. "I made a deal once," he said. "Not for fame. Not for money. For sound. I wanted to hear it, the pure note. The voice beyond what human ears can make. I thought it was art, man, but it was something else answering." He looked around the room nervously, then whispered, "They used me to sing for them. And now they want a new voice." The lights flickered. At first, I thought it was a storm outside. But the hum from the speakers changed pitch, slowly forming a faint melody, even though the tape hadn't started yet. "Do you hear that?" I asked. He nodded. "It's them. They know we're here." He pressed play. The speakers hissed. Static bled into the room, soft at first, then layered with low tones, like a choir breathing in unison, and then the voice. It wasn't D'Angelo's, it was deep, wrong, and wet like sound made underwater. It spoke, not sang, a string of words that didn't belong to any language I knew. The walls began to hum, the old glass in the booth vibrated, and I swear to God, I saw movement behind the reflection. Shadows shifting, forming vague outlines of faces. Dozens of them, all mouthing the same word in rhythm with the song, "Here." D'Angelo's hand gripped my arm. "Stop it," he shouted. I hit pause, and the sound cut off, instantly silence, dropping so fast my ears popped for a moment. We both just stared at each other. Then, the glass cracked. A thin hairline fracture ran across the booth window, splitting one of the reflections clean down the middle. "What the hell was that?" I whispered. He didn't answer. He was shaking, muttering to himself, "It's too late. They found the frequency. They'll never stop listening." He stood up, pacing, scratching his neck until it bled. "They said I had to pass it on. Someone else has to take it, or it eats me from the inside. You came, man. That means you're next." I backed away. "You're not making sense." He stopped and looked at me with hollow eyes. "You heard it, didn't you? Once you hear the note, you're marked. You'll dream of them tonight. And then, next time you record something, you'll hear your own voice, but it won't be you." He picked up the tape and shoved it into my hands. "Take it," he said. "Before I burn everything." I didn't want to. But when I looked at him, I saw something behind his eyes, like faint static crawling under his skin. He was deteriorating, like an image losing quality in real time. "D, you need help," he laughed. Not like himself. It was harsh, metallic, jagged. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flickers of the studio lights and D'Angelo's face disappearing into the dark. And underneath it all, I heard that voice whispering, "Greater than one must sing." I told myself it was a hallucination. Sleep deprivation. But when I checked my phone, there was a new voicemail from an unknown number. I pressed play, *Marcus. "It's me. Don't come looking for me. They're close. I shouldn't have shown you the tape. Don't listen to it again. Promise me that." Then static. And beneath it, faintly, a hum that grew sharper the longer I listened, until my speaker started vibrating. I dropped the phone, and it cut off. For a full minute, I stood there, frozen. Then I remembered the tape. I hadn't thrown it away. I'd left it in the glove box. By noon, I found myself driving back to Hollowtone. The studio was chained shut this time. No lights, no sign of life. I pried open a window and climbed in, heart pounding. The place felt colder, emptier, but not dead. It felt like the walls were still breathing. The console was still running, even though the power should have been off. The red light on the tape deck blinked steadily, as if waiting. And then, I saw it. The tape that D'Angelo had given me was gone. In its place was a small black envelope with my name scrawled across it. Inside was a cassette labeled "Confession, to listen alone." My hands shook as I slid it into the deck. The tape hissed alive. And his voice filled the room. "Greater than if you're hearing this, Marcus, then I'm gone." I couldn't keep it quiet anymore. I tried, but they don't just want the song, they want an audience. I froze. His voice trembled, but there was something else under it, a faint echo, like someone whispering the same words a split second later. Greater than. It started after the line sessions back in 2000. I was chasing a sound I heard in my sleep. Pure harmony, like angels, but wrong. So wrong, I thought I could record it. I built a tone generator and matched what I heard. But it wasn't just sound, it was something's call. The speakers hissed. I turned the volume down, but the sound pulsed like a heartbeat, growing stronger. Greater than. That night, something answered. Not in the room, in the recording. When I played it back, there were voices. Thousands, layered. And they were singing my name. I thought it was interference. But when I reversed the track, they said it clear as daylight. There was a pause. Then D'Angelo's voice dropped to a whisper. Greater than. They said, "We can make you heard forever." My chest tightened. The tape squealed slightly, distorting the sound. Then I heard him breathing fast, panicked. Greater than. I said yes. Stupid, desperate yes. And after that, everything changed. My voice, my shows, my fans, they weren't reacting to me. They were reacting to them. They feed on attention, on sound waves, on the energy of being heard. Every concert, every playback, they were growing stronger. He started coughing, the sound breaking into wet gasps. Greater than. They told me they'd need a replacement one day, a new vessel. That's what the song was for, the final song. It's a handover ritual, man. The last note you sing seals it. Then, faintly, I heard something else on the tap, a second voice. Lower, older. Whispering beneath his words like a translation. Greater than. One must sing, one must fade. I stopped the tape, my hand shaking. The air in the room felt thick, charged with static. My reflection in the booth glass shimmered. For a heartbeat, I saw another face overlapping mine. Mouth open in a silent scream, I stumbled backward and killed. The power to the deck, but the speakers didn't go silent. Instead, they began to hum again, that same low, wet tone. Only this time, it shaped itself into something unmistakable. My name? He looked toward the booth window, where the reflection of the dim lights shimmered like water. Them, he whispered. The ones behind the sound. I thought it was metaphorical. D'Angelo always spoke like that, mystic, poetic, a little eccentric. But that night, there was no rhythm to it. His words were flat, cold, certain. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small cassette tape, wrapped in faded masking tape. Written in red ink, the final song. I recorded this last week, he said. But I didn't record it, you know. I was just there, and it happened. He handed it to me, his fingers trembling. When I touched it, I swear I felt something vibrate inside the tape, like a low pulse, almost alive. I can't listen to it anymore, he whispered. Not alone. So we set it up. The old reel-to-reel deck still worked somehow. The machine groaned as it came to life, the magnetic tape whining softly. Before we start, he said, I gotta confess something. He leaned closer, his breath shaky. I made a deal once, he said. Not for fame. Not for money. For sound? I wanted to hear it, the pure note. The voice beyond what human ears can make. I thought it was art, man. But it was something else answering. He looked around the room nervously, then whispered, "They used me to sing for them. And now they want a new voice." The lights flickered. At first, I thought it was a storm outside. But the hum from the speakers changed pitch, slowly forming a faint melody, even though the tape hadn't started yet. Just silence. And then, from behind me, a faint breath, right next to my ear. "Greater than you heard it twice. Now it's yours." I spun around. Nothing. But I could still feel warm air brushing the back of my neck. Like someone had just spoken through me, instead of to me. That's when I realized something that chilled me to my core. Every sound I made, my breathing, my footsteps, was echoing half a second late, like someone else was mimicking me. Slightly out of sync, I ran to the bathroom mirror. My reflection blinked slower than I did. When I opened my mouth to speak, it smiled. Greater than one must sing. The glass cracked, same pattern as the studio window. I screamed, grabbed a towel, and smashed the mirror to pieces. My reflection broke into fragments, each shard catching a flicker of movement. Faces, eyes, mouths, all whispering the same thing in unison. "The song is almost ready." I stumbled out into the hallway, shaking, heart racing. My phone buzzed again, unknown number. I answered, static. Then D'Angelo's voice, faint but urgent. "Greater than Marcus, destroy the tape before the third night. Don't let them finish the chorus." The call cut. My phone melted into dead pixels. I don't remember falling asleep. I don't remember dreaming, but when I awoke, there was music playing again. This time, it was coming from inside my head. The same voice, the same melody, the same cursed note. And beneath it, another whisper, familiar now, patient 3 nights. One must sing. I didn't go back to work after that night. Every waking hour was filled with noise that wasn't there, phantom melodies. Fragments of chords that didn't exist in any key. I could feel the sound now, like it was moving through my blood. By the second night, sleep became impossible. Whenever I closed my eyes, I saw D'Angelo standing in front of that mic again, whispering to something I couldn't see. Behind him, in the reflection of the booth, dozens of faces pressed against the glass, mouths open, eyes empty. Every time I woke, I could still hear them. That afternoon, I found a padded envelope outside my door. No sender name. Inside, another cassette. This one had a label that simply said, **** play, IT backward. ****. My breath caught in my throat. I should have burned it right there. I wanted to. But curiosity, it's poison. Especially when you think there might be a way to understand what's happening. I drove to an old friend's studio across town, an engineer named Rico who owed me favors. I told him I had an old demo I wanted to restore, just to hear it in reverse. He raised an eyebrow. "Analog tape? Man, that's old school." "Yeah," I said. "Just need it digitized cleanly. Don't listen too long." He laughed like I was joking, while the machines warmed up. Rico stepped out to grab coffee. I sat there alone, staring at the reels spinning. The first few seconds were nothing but white noise, then the low hum returned. That same tone. the one that vibrated through bone more than air. When I reversed the playback, something emerged from the static clearer this time. Voices, 100 of them, layered in unnatural harmony, each syllable twisted backward, forming patterns that made my stomach turn. And then, under all of it, came D'Angelo's voice again, greater than Marcus. If you're hearing this, you've already let them in. The power flickered. I froze. The studio lights dimmed to red emergency glow. The speakers popped once, then screamed. Not a musical scream, but human. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Each voice layered perfectly into one distorted harmony that shook the air. The walls themselves seemed to pulse, breathing in time with it. Then, a phrase repeated over and over, so clearly it felt carved into my skull, greater than we sing through you now. The console meters spiked into the red. I slammed the stop button. Nothing. The tape spun faster on its own, the reels blurring until the magnetic strip tore free and whipped across the console like a live wire. Rico burst back into the room, coffee spilling everywhere. Marcus, what the hell? He stopped mid-sentence. His eyes went wide. His jaw slackened. I turned to look where he was staring. On the glass of the control booth, faint outlines began to form. Handprints. Dozens of them. Then faces. They weren't reflections anymore, they were inside the glass. Pressing out, I dragged Rico out of the room. He fought me, dazed, muttering under his breath. When I got him into the hallway, I saw what he was saying. Over and over. Greater than, do you hear it? They're singing my name. I didn't go back inside. We ran until we hit the street. I didn't even realize until later that the tape was still in the machine that night. I got another voicemail. This one wasn't from D'Angelo, it was me, my voice. Same tone, same hesitation. Only I hadn't called anyone greater than Marcus. Stop running. You can't outrun a song. You can only finish it. Then laughter. Mine again, but off somehow. Hollow. Distorted like it was playing through water. I threw my phone at the wall. Shattered it, but the laughter didn't stop. It kept echoing from somewhere behind me, faint. Like someone standing just outside the room. The more I tried to block out the sound, white noise. Headphones, silence, the louder it became. And when I covered my ears completely, I realized the worst part. It wasn't coming from outside anymore. It was coming from inside my skull. By the third night, I'd reached the edge. I tore through old boxes, found the first tape, the one from the studio. I thought if I could destroy it, maybe it would stop. I went to the backyard, dug a hole, and poured gasoline on it. As I lit the match, I heard that familiar hum again. Rising from nowhere, the tape in my hand began to move, witching, twisting like a living thing. I dropped it into the pit. The flame caught, blue and violent. But as the tape burned, the fire sang. A low harmonic tone filled the air, and for a moment, I could see shapes forming in the smoke, faces again, mouths open, eyes rolling upward like marionettes pulled by invisible strings. They weren't fading, they were watching, and then, faintly, behind me, a voice whispered, "Greater than, you can't destroy what isn't recorded. You're the tape now." I fell to my knees. My vision blurred. The hum filled my ears until it was all I could hear. a perfect endless drone that swallowed every thought. Then, for a heartbeat, I thought it was over. I could hear my breathing again. The air was still, but as I got up, I realized the silence wasn't real. It wasn't absence, it was waiting. The ground beneath me vibrated faintly steady. Rhythmic, the same pulse, and when I looked down, I saw the soil move like something alive beneath it. Breathing, a small black object pushed through the dirt at my feet, another cassette, no label. Just one word carved into the plastic, greater than record. I don't know what possessed me to take it back inside. Maybe fear? Maybe curiosity? Maybe that lingering voice whispering my name in perfect pitch. When I held it up to the light, I saw faint lines inside the tape shapes that looked like wave moving even when the tape was still. It wasn't blank, it was recording already. I could hear faint breathing inside the shell, syncing with mine. I dropped it. It hit the floor and rolled, landing perfectly on its back, the spools facing up and in the faint hum of the room. I heard the melody again, the one from the first night. The chorus was forming. When I woke the next morning, my apartment felt wrong again. The air itself seemed to hum with a constant undertone, like electricity bleeding through the walls. Only, it wasn't power lines I was hearing. It was a note. A perfect, low E-flat. It followed me everywhere, when I turned on the shower, when I brushed my teeth, even when I whispered my own name. The sound answered back, harmonizing with me. Faint, but alive. By the time the sun went down, I realized the sound wasn't outside anymore. It was in me. I tried to record it to prove I wasn't losing my mind. I set up my phone and hit record while the hum filled the room. When I played it back, there was nothing. Just silence. But as I turned up the volume, a second layer emerged. Whispers, buried deep in the static. Greater than Marcus. Sing that voice again, familiar, pleading, distorted by distance. It was D single quotes. Angelo, he was still alive. Or something pretending to be him was. I called Rico, told him everything. He didn't even let me finish. Greater than don't say my name, he whispered over the line. They're listening through us now. What are you talking about?